Follow your passion might be a perfect question to ask and might have a perfect answer when interpreted right.
Let's start tracking which stocks can actually go up and go down, or which stocks have an advantage with the vaccine coming out.
Why it would have been more expensive to fake a moon landing back in those days. It's quite an interesting video to watch.
The economic activity created from the App Store alone is worth $500 billion.
So let's move on to the next question.
Man, it was too easy.
Too easy, no? Why didn't you answer?
What's up, guys? Are we live? How do you do that? Do you do this or do you do this? Are we live, guys? Awesome. Firstly, if you like the new intro, which took us a little bit of time to actually get working because we had to edit it last minute, hit like, hit subscribe, because this happens every week, and I'm not going to go on Instagram and keep telling you guys, oh, please come, check out our news show, whatever. And then people blame me the next day saying, wow, I didn't see your Instagram post or notification. And that's the main reason we're doing this, right? The main reason we're doing this is because Instagram is kind of getting very tiresome with their notifications. They're not sending my notifications to everybody. So come to YouTube, and this is where we are. All right. Cool, guys. So I think we should start with the news today. For those of you that are not familiar, we are doing an everyday news sort of thing, a news season, and you're going to get the best news here. You're going to get the most technical news here, no fake news, and well-researched news, more than anything, presented by yours truly. So hit subscribe and like for that. Let's get started. Elson, I think you can boost up the volume. Boost up the volume for these folks. Good folks. Awesome. Cool. We on? Okay. Presentation on? Awesome. So our first topic for the day today, do you guys see that image? Are all of you seeing that image on screen right now? Maybe you could full screen that for a second for them so they can see it. You guys seeing that? Let's move this out of the way. You guys seeing that? That is not a real person. Believe it or not, today there are a lot of profiles on the internet that don't have real faces in them anymore. It's used mostly by trolls on the internet, but this is something that you can get on thispersondoesnotexist.com. So you go there and it automatically generates a face for you which has never existed in reality. It uses a network called the StyleGAN, and more than that, in the description or somewhere there, StyleGAN 2, which basically generates a face on the fly. Now, if you guys are familiar with me, sometimes I go around on Zoom calls or in our Discord server and I'm trolling people, and I deepfake myself as somebody else. Like I deepfake myself. One day I did it as Modi and then I got scared and then I stopped. But in general, StyleGAN is the same technology used there. It's the same technology being used by trolls mainstream. So I kind of predicted this a while ago when I was using that technique by myself to kind of, be anybody or whoever I wanted to be at any time, instantly. So this technology now is it's rampant, it's wildfire. You don't know whether that person you're talking to on social media is real or fake. So watch out. Now, I want to give you a tip, right? Whenever you look at an avatar, anybody's profile picture or avatar, there's one tip that I want to give you on how to identify whether that person is real or not. And the way to identify that is to look for something called artifacts. Artifacts are basically errors in the face. So like earrings that are there when there's not supposed to be, half of, a flower in the head, or, maybe a nose that's slightly chipped off. So just look for errors that don't seem too realistic. Because remember, this algorithm kind of chips or puts together these faces, right, from a huge list of faces that it already has. So sometimes it gets it wrong. Actually, it gets it wrong a lot if you peel your eyes open. But if you don't, especially because Twitter minimizes the profile pictures, so same with Facebook, same with Instagram, it's very difficult to tell. So, you might want to kind of zoom in and see whether it's a real person or whether you're just being trolled by a robot. Awesome. So, our next piece of news for the day is, I put out that news last week. And I put out the news saying that Elon Musk has now become the third richest person in the world, and how it really doesn't matter whether you're the richest person in the world or not, because it's all speculative, right? Nobody can truly count how much your net worth is. It's not real money. They can't pull out notes from their pocket and say, I'm worth this much. And this week I found out that Elon Musk has beaten Bill Gates. Now again, it's speculative. Elon Musk is just one of the most vocal people on Twitter, and the more you hear of him, the more you go and buy Tesla stock, even though you may or may not know why you're buying Tesla stock, or you might not even think about the future potential. You just might think, hey, cool CEO, might want to invest. So again, it's speculative value. But this story is not about Elon Musk's net worth. This story was something I read a long time ago, but that resurfaced sometime recently. Elon Musk said that playing video games is how he and most of the best programming guys that he's hired at SpaceX have gotten together. In fact, even in Tesla, he consistently hires video game developers. Now, there's a reason I'm kind of going through this story, right? So I want to tell you about Elon Musk's own video gaming story. So he started programming to make video games. So the first game he made was called Blastar, and I think he sold that for about $500 to somebody, right? So his interest in programming, in technology, started with video games. Our interest in everything in the real world starts with one particular thing, right? We are really interested because we play it or we look at some role models. And I've gone on and on about what are the forces that drive us into learning things. And one of the main things is actually gaming or video games or being interactive in a particular environment. So Elon Musk has kind of, he's claimed on record multiple times that learning how to make video games was what forced him to get into technology. And it's the same for me too. I probably would not be kind of here today if I didn't start coding very early. And what did I want to make first? When I first started coding at the age of 11 or 12, I started wanting to make video games. I used a different engine at that time it was called Reality Factory. But the kind of intention was the same. I played video games and I wanted to be cool and make video games. I was young. I didn't have all these ambitions of changing the world or anything. I just wanted to be cool at that time. And that's what drives a lot of youngsters into actually learning code and learning technology. Now, I'm not going to say that all of you guys should learn code or learn technology or anything, but you should have a focus to do the things you love. And how many of us don't love video games? Very difficult to find somebody. And some of you might think, oh, it's only Elon Musk, right? Only Elon Musk. We can't take Elon Musk as a proper example because, there are many others. And what about them? They might have started in different areas. Well, the developers that Elon Musk hires in SpaceX and Tesla, he's gone on record multiple times. I think the first time he mentioned this was at E3, the expo. And he said that the developers he hires there are mostly gamers because they're passionate about what they do and they understand technology, because any technology you build today, to really get it, you need to understand what's going on inside a computer. And video games are your first window inside that. So let's agree. Maybe your parents have told you video games are bad, your eyes will get spoiled. I mean, we now have almost 10 years of data saying even if you put your face right next to a screen, you don't get, glasses or anything. Like I don't have glasses and I've been, playing video games for 15, a very, very long time. So despite that, our parents keep throwing things at us saying, video games are bad, you'll ruin your career, you'll ruin your life, this, that. And I've seen some of that. But for most people, especially people who outgrow the video game phenomenon or play very little of it or can keep that balance, it's a very powerful driving force. So I have a question for you guys. Would you ban it? That's right. Would you ban it? And that brings me to the next slide in the deck, which is that I have heard, or rather I saw this and somebody sent me this and I got irritated the minute I saw it. It said Karnataka has decided to ban online games along with some other states. And I thought about this. I thought, shit, has that really happened? And I clicked through, right? And I was hoping that this time the media is correct and they're not kind of just spewing nonsense. And then what I read disappointed me. The actual story says that it's not online games that are banned. It is specifically money and gambling games, like games, online games that involve gambling, right? Which made me think about the title and I kind of realized that the media has just been lying about this, especially the Indian media. And I'm not going to take names, right? I think shaming people in public is not the most ideal thing to do. I'll try to avoid it if I can. You want views, I get it. Youngsters understand gaming, I get it. Now you want to make gaming look like the villain, I get it, right? But this story was not about online games at all. It's about online betting and gambling games. And for some reason, our ministers, some of the media here think that they're the same thing. They think all games, in their head, online rummy is not any different from Fortnite or not any different from a kid's educational game. They're all just online games, right? So next time you look at a clickbait title, just click on the link, read the story, and if it's not a very good story, then just, report that website. And you can do this through certain Google Chrome extensions if you guys use Google Chrome. But in general, it's just, I don't like the fact that there are some people out there who think that they can just create a clickbait title and then you click that title and then it's something completely different. Now I want to tell you something. The Indian regulatory body actually had a battle about this. They said what constitutes betting and what constitutes gaming. Where do you draw the line? And we experienced some of this when in our own server and in our own app where we wanted to have rewards. We want to have basically a loot box or something like that you can get, and then you open the loot box and then suddenly inside that loot box you get some item. Maybe you get a shirt or and these are digital items, right? Just to create your digital avatar, just to some sort of engagement kind of tactics. We realized that India is not friendly to loot boxes. Even Fortnite, PUBG, they have those crates or boxes where randomly you might get an outcome. According to India, that is luck based. So there are two kinds of games in the Indian regulatory body's minds: luck based and skill based, right? So even though Fortnite might be 99% skill, even though there's maybe 2 or 1 or 2% of luck with those loot boxes that open you and give you different rewards, that itself could cause big problems for them. And that's why I don't like this. Like, I think we should create a new name for online betting or gambling, which is online betting and gambling. Don't use the word game because game means something completely different. All right? So don't get misled by these articles. Come here to this news so that you get more accurate information. Okay. The next news is the infamous AWS outage. A lot of you probably seen this, right? AWS is a bunch of servers that is owned by Amazon. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the Amazon story because it's important for this. Amazon started out selling books. Over time, they said, well, now we'll sell detergents. And then they said, well, now we'll sell, merchandise. Now we'll get other, anyone who wants to sell anything can come on Amazon. And we'll build a really powerful logistics arm so that we can deliver anything in the world anywhere and very reliably. When someday Jeff Bezos just came out and said, I want to build web services. I don't know where that intent came from, but today the intent to build web services or the idea of building web services is now one of their most profitable arms. Obviously, right? They have servers in cold storage somewhere and these servers power the entire internet. So what happens when the entire internet goes down? What happens when AWS crashes or goes down? And we saw that. There was literally so much chaos. There were hospital systems that weren't online because their patients weren't able. At least a few deaths have happened just because Amazon's servers went under the water. And it's not just one or two companies. It's also us. Avalon Meta, all of our videos on the app are hosted on the AWS servers. And the minute it went down, we started noticing this. We started getting like 1-star reviews on Google Play Store. And they started saying, oh, the videos don't load, these guys can't even create videos. When it wasn't even our fault. So there's so much reputational damage that was caused to other businesses because of AWS. But even then, AWS is so critical. That's why I want everybody who uses technology, uses an app, don't go and hate on an app unnecessarily. It's very difficult to build, and sometimes it's not even their fault. It's like, somebody's running a company and you don't know what's going on in the back end of the company. You only see one ad and you say, what a shit company. It's not even though people jump to those conclusions, you have no idea what's going on in the back end. And just like that, there's so many people, because of AWS, which is on the back end, people only see the front end. So they just said, it's the company's fault, whereas it's not the company's fault. All right. Number 5. Right? Can you play that deck? Can you full screen that? All right. So we're going to talk about, I actually had a secret piece of news that I want to talk about in between this. And that is the White Hat Junior hack. The reason I haven't put in the title is because White Hat Junior has been pretty aggressive about going after any YouTube channel that's pretty much talking about it. So, but that's not, they're just going after the most visible guys, right? And because we're a small channel and we're just starting out, I don't want us to be, in their sights, but we're still going to talk about it because you have to take a stance. Now, White Hat Junior got hacked, and they lost, I think, 2.8 lakh records of miners were displayed, in plain text. Now, I'm not a stranger to seeing apps get hacked. It's actually pretty normal. Unacademy got hacked too in the past. So I wouldn't really blame them for it because, you are building a large company. There are going to be parts that you're not, you don't have perfect insight over. But I'll tell you the problem. I'll tell you why everything that White Hat Junior is doing right now looks like a crime. The reason is because of something called the Streisand effect. The Streisand effect. So a Streisand effect on the internet is when you want to try and hide something, but because you're spending, effort and energy trying to hide it, the opposite happens. And everybody on the internet gets to know about it. Right? So the same thing sort of happened with White Hat Junior, where there were these two guys, actually one guy in the beginning who was fighting a battle against White Hat Junior, and there was another angel investor that kind of joined his ranks, and they were both, he was fighting against Byju's, this Pradeep Punia guy was fighting against White Hat Junior, and in the beginning it was a small operation. They should have just ignored it if, they had issues. And, to be fully fair to White Hat Junior, I saw Karan Bajaj, the CEO of White Hat Junior, I saw his Twitter post, I saw his LinkedIn post, and he spoke about something called blitz scaling. He said that when you are blitz scaling, you make mistakes because as a CEO, there are hundreds of things. And I've seen this firsthand, right? There's something that there are hundreds of things that you're doing, and you cannot go to one team and say, don't do this. Sometimes you go to one team and you say, don't do this, and they don't do it. And you have 100 things to do, right? Because everyone in your company is not going to be as motivated as you to clean everything up. But at the same time, some of the things, like if my company ever did something like that, the amount of hate we'd get, I would like quickly respond and change that. I'd be like, who are we in service of? We're in service of our customers, right? So the only thing is, with blitz scaling, sometimes you let fires burn. That's the theory behind the strategy. And I hate that strategy. I think it would have worked 5 years ago. It worked for LinkedIn, it worked for Slack, it worked for Facebook, it worked for Airbnb, but it will not work today. You cannot keep pissing off your customers and hoping they forget it 1 year later. That's not the kind of business we want to build. And anyway, that's more about what I want to build versus what they've been building. But in White Hat Junior's case, they should have just let it slide. Any hate, they should have just said, we'll just keep it as small. But the fact that they tried to file a suit and, do that 2 million, defamation, that was unnecessary. And that brought so much light towards their malpractices that they're going to have a hard time pulling out of this. But you might be on the internet recently, right? You might be following these news, especially startup news recently, especially if, you're on this news show. But I've seen Byju's do this for a very long time. Byju's gotten into a lot of trouble. And it seems like every 6 months the audience forgets. So it's not like I expect people to remember in the long term, but White Hat Junior kind of just made it worse on themselves. Cool. One last topic. So the last topic I want to talk about is Discord. Guys and girls, I think people are sleeping on Discord. Discord is one of the most powerful platforms in the world out there. And one more thing I realized is that adults just don't understand how it works. Not just, dumb adults, even the smartest of adults don't understand how it works. They're just too lazy, or they haven't seen a bigger Discord server in action. So they don't know how to kind of engage. One of the important things of Discord versus Facebook or Twitter or any other social network is Discord has moderation. Each server is owned by a group of people, and it's their responsibility to moderate the server. In the real world, we have the idea of leadership. We don't allow everyone to lead. And people who are listening to this who think that everybody should kind of lead together, that's not a good idea. And there are companies that have tried this to make it a holacracy. Holacracy basically means everyone leads together. And in those companies, especially the newbies who join, don't know who to look up to. They have no guidance. They have no roadmap onto what I should do, where I should go, which is why it kind of just falls flat. So I believe that the internet is the same. You can't just expect everyone to be nice to each other. You need strong leaders to be able to kick some people out, to be able to, put some people in timeout in case they're having bad days. I think Discord allows people to do that. Now, I think the fund they're talking to is Tiger, if I'm not wrong, and it will be at a $7 billion valuation. That is huge. That is a massive company. And they still haven't figured out how to make money, but what we've learned from companies like Facebook is that if you can keep audiences engaged for a very long time, eventually you'll be able to make money. And I think in Discord's case, the good thing is they might not need to run ads. They can just have premium servers, which I think is a good, clean way to make money. I think ads gets a little bit shady, right? Because it's a conflict of what users want to see versus what advertisers want to put across to the users. And you've all seen how annoying YouTube ads are. Can you guess? And I'm going to wait to see this. Can you guess why? Discord's been growing so fast? Can you guess? Now I want to see some results from you guys. Why do you think Discord, the app, is getting popular? Take a wild guess. Some people say pandemic, maybe, but there's one specific reason that Discord has become popular. Come on. It is because of the game Among Us. That's right. Among Us has caused Discord to almost double its user count, which is crazy, right? Just a simple game, which is why I've tied this. And whenever I do news, it's always tied. Like all the news pieces give you a kind of a full story of what's going on. Gaming creates so much opportunity and value. A lot of careers are born out of it. India is like clickbaiting and not sure about what the future of gaming is, so they're kind of trying to ban it. And at the same time, Discord is growing because of games. There is so much potential in this market for us Indians to come out, create some awesome games, use Discord as the platform layer to put those games out, and then just grow like crazy. And our social experiences in the future are mostly going to be games. And adults don't believe this. I know this because I speak to a lot of adults. That's part of my job. They don't believe that the future is that much gaming. They know it at a surface level. They just, from far, they can kind of understand what it is, but they don't know the exact specifics. And the exact specifics are that I've been playing games for the last 12 years. Much longer, 50. I don't even know when I started. But I've been playing online multiplayer games like Dota for a very long time. And at some point, I stopped playing Dota competitively. I started playing it to chill with my friends. And that's exactly how you play Among Us. Or that's exactly how some people play Fortnite. That's why Fortnite, Epic, the company behind Fortnite, bought House Party to integrate a social experience. So what we're going to have is we're going to have these many social realities, these many social experiences that we can be a part of. So you play Fortnite with one group of friends, or you play Among Us with another group of friends, and you play it together. And that is a future that when we enter VR, it's going to be even better because you'll be there in person. And all those people who said, oh, gamers don't get exercise, now you're in VR, walking around, sweating the entire day. I think you'll get a lot of exercise. So I'm very excited to see that. So whenever your parents like say, study, don't play games, I think they fail to understand, some of that is true, obviously, but I think they fail to understand that the future is mostly all games. They're just not going to be called games at that point. They're just going to be called social experiences. Cool. That's all I have to say. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's news. You've seen pretty much the entire spectrum of things. Thanks for tuning in, and please hit the subscribe and like button and hit the bell icon, because if you don't hit the bell icon, then you are never going to hear about us. If you don't hit the subscribe icon, you're definitely never going to hear about us. Awesome. Bye-bye, guys. See ya. Ta-da.
Follow your passion might be a perfect question to ask and might have a perfect answer when interpreted right.
Let's start tracking which stocks can actually go up and go down, or which stocks have an advantage with the vaccine coming out.
Why it would have been more expensive to fake a moon landing back in those days. It's quite an interesting video to watch.
The economic activity created from the App Store alone is worth $500 billion.
So let's move on to the next question.
Man, it was too easy.
Too easy, no? Why didn't you answer?